You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Won the first game 6-3. New York came back to walk off with a 2-1 win in the second game for their first win of the year and hand Detroit their first loss of the season. Marlins lose to the Cardinals 8-5. Miami's 0-8 on the year.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, good morning and welcome into the Friday edition of Inside the Locker Room. The phone number to get in on the show, 205-342-9904, if you'd like to jump in on the show with us this morning. The X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1. And the email address for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download that Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone. And you can take us with you anywhere you go. It's that time of year again. The honeydew list is growing, and the projects are adding up. The time is right to build that new fence, deck, pergola you've been dreaming about. There's no better product than pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. Yellowwood offers the best protection from rot, fungal decay, and termite attacks, so you know it's going to last for years to come. Head on down to that local dealer, and always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then believe me, you don't want to. I know a lot of people are flying out today to Phoenix to get ready for the Final Four out there. I'm not sure if they just got their plane tickets to come back Tuesday or what, or it's a wait-and-see deal. But big games tomorrow. Also, the women's Final Four will get started tonight. We'd love to have your phone calls. No guests the first hour, so we can talk what you guys think Alabama has to do to have a chance to win this game. So give us a buzz, 205-342-9904. With that, I'll bring Dad in. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing okay, Barry. Last night in a game that nobody pays a whole lot of attention to, the NIT finished up with Seton Hall 79, Indiana State 77. A lot of non-interest in the game. But Seton Hall did go 9-0. The last 9 games, which is certainly a real credit to them. I can't really pronounce the guy's name, but Bhatia, Ashley, is -9 in the Texas Invitational Golf Tournament. So tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN, you will see North Carolina State, which is certainly a great honor for their teams to get in men and women's Final Four, playing a prohibited favorite in South Carolina. Connecticut will play the young lady and her team at Caitlin at 8 o'clock. Largest bet, the most bets ever in the history of women's basketball in the last hour game. The interest, the tickets, the prices, the whatevers, because such a young lady who's broken all the scoring records is there. Of course, and because South Carolina is very good. But the women's basketball has really come to the front. The tickets are going for more than they are for the male, for the other tournament, which is quite unusual. Last night in baseball, LSU beat Vanderbilt in the league, and Arkansas beat Ole Miss. Eric Musselman is, we have a lot of people leaving. Eric Musselman, Andy Enfield left Southern Cal, went to SMU. Eric Musselman took that job. Tim Floyd did a good job last night. I thought of telling us how good that job can be, and Eric will do a good job there. And regardless of everybody's down on what happened, you got the 2 Final Eights, which is pretty darn good. So say that's okay. The game are again at 5:09. A game tomorrow night with Purdue and North Carolina State. Got to give a lot. North Carolina State is happy to be there. Loose as a goose, ready to play. Probably can't beat Purdue, but they're just going to be loose as a goose. 7:49. that has moved up to 9.5-point favorite. Purdue 11.5 continued last time I looked. Favorite for Connecticut over Alabama. I think one of the things here, I'm going to talk about the game in a few minutes when Barry gets to saying what he wants to, but I think playing in a game like this for the first time is a little bit different than playing any other game in the world with the pressure there. So I would say Connecticut, although they've got some minuses about the travel there, they've got some pluses, I think playing for the first time, for the second time after playing last year, a little bit more difficult on Alabama. I'll talk about what needs to happen in the game. I don't want to spend all the time talking all the time. So that's about it. Justin Edwards, a pretty good player from Kentucky, has gone to the NBA, and so we'll see what happens there. So basically, that's a few things that's going to happen, and Barry can start it off to say what he wants to.
Well, last time teams went back-to-back champions in college basketball. You guys know the last team to do that? Justin, you know? Last team to go back-to-back.
Florida.
That's right. Florida. Actually, I was at South Carolina. We actually beat Florida twice that year, lost them in the SEC championship final. But 06-07, Duke did it in 91-92. So it doesn't happen that often. If I said, if you wanted to lay some money on whether Connecticut will go back-to-back. Back-to-back is hard.
Very hard.
What would you lay the money on that yes or no that they will end up going back-to-back?
I'll answer the question by saying a very weak yes. A weak yes. I can tell you what's going to happen here, what could happen here. So,
all right. Let's see. Oklahoma State did it in 45 and through 56. Let's see. I don't even right. Kentucky 48 and 49. San Francisco 55 and 56. Cincinnati 61 and 62. UCLA 64 and 65. Then 67 through 73. They won it. And then Duke and Florida. So it hasn't happened that many times. One, obviously UCLA did it back in the 60s and early 70s. But going back to back in anything, honestly, is quite difficult. All right, get to the Yellowwood Hotline. Get Tom into the show. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Barry. Good morning, Coach. How are y'all?
We're good.
Hang in there.
I read a fascinating article in the New York Post yesterday. By the way, the New York Post is the greatest newspaper in the history of newspapers. And if you didn't know it, the family of Alexander Hamilton was the founders of the New York Post, just in case you didn't know.
So God likes the New York Post.
That's the reason they have survived through all the diminishing of the media.
Okay.
The New York Post stands strong and tall and unafraid. And but it was an article about Hofstra, where Aaron Estrada came from. And the coach, Coach Speedy Claxton. And I would suggest if you want something, a positive about NIL, and I know we all have been very negative about NIL, but here's a positive story about NIL. I would suggest you go to the search bar of the New York Post and just type in Aaron's name, and that article will come up.
Okay.
And it just a little synopsis, if you're interested, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The options that Aaron had when they finished the season last year was NBA, transfer portal, or come back to Hofstra. And the coach said, no, you're not coming back. And I don't think the NBA is a good option at this time. Let's put your name in the transfer portal and see what happens. So they did. And several people were interested in him coming to play for him. And when they evaluated all the people that were looking at him, they decided Alabama was the best. And because of NIL, he came to Alabama and was able to buy his mother or help her buy a new car. Her his family's been able to travel to several games to see him play, and all of the NCAA tournament games because of what he earned in NIL. And I think the coach could wear the label that he's all about the best interest of his players. And I think that's pretty darn good on Coach Claxton's part.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. This is his fourth school in 5 years, right?
Didn't get that far. It didn't mention it.
I think he played at St. Peter's, Oregon, Hofstra, and Alabama. The kid took advantage of the opportunity that was out there by you being allowed to do that. I just don't think that college sports, you should be able to play at 4 schools in 5 years. I have nothing against Aaron Estrada. I think he's done a good job. I mean, your story's great that he was able to do that. But I hope we get to the point where maybe you can go to 2 schools, but to be able to have a system where you can go to 4 schools in 5 years. I don't know. Do you like it, Tom, or guys just jump around every year?
You know, Barry, I defer to yours and Coach Sanderson's judgment when it comes to stuff like that. I would tend to agree with you because you know more. I recognize that, and because you've been there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a typical fan that I am, I read the article, and on the surface, it seems like just a wonderful thing that happened, right?
Sure. And that is a wonderful thing, and he didn't do anything but do what he's allowed to do. But
right.
Yeah, so like I don't blame Caden Proctor if he got over to Iowa.
And I don't blame you. I don't blame you for having a logical approach in your thinking.
I just don't like that we have a system that a guy. I know you're not talking about Caden. They can go to Iowa, take their money, and then never even play there and come back to the school he left. That just doesn't seem like a very good system to me.
I think that if I'm hearing you and your dad right, it's the fact that you can bring a young person in and develop them, and then them have success is a great thing. That's as good a story as the transfer portal for Aaron Estrada here.
Sure.
And you bring a kid in, you develop him, you teach him, and then he goes out and he's very successful in whatever it is, if it's the NBA or whatever. I get that, and I admire the people that have done that. Unfortunately, people have taken that out of our hands now.
Yeah, and so Aaron Estrada came in here. And I think the people that have gotten to know him, I know some people, they say he's a really good kid. So happy for him to get an opportunity to play into the Final Four. He just took advantage of a bad system. Not advantage, that sounds bad, but he used the system that was in place, and now he's in the Final Four. So I'm sure he's pinching himself in that hotel this morning, Todd, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm sure of that. But I thought, to me, it was the article was about Aaron and what he was able to do, but the mental approach, the attitude of the coach at Hofstra was fascinating to me.
Yeah, fascinating. That is neat. No doubt. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that.
Sure. Bye.
Thank you. That's how that went down. The Hofstra coach said, "Hey, you've done everything you can do here. Let's go somewhere else." And good for him. All right, back up to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, guys. Hope y'all doing good.
We're good.
Yeah. In regards to what you're talking about on the transferring and all that, and Estrada, so many schools and in so many years, just think what the history of sport would be like. And in this case, college basketball would be like had all this been around back in the late 60s and early 70s, because UCLA probably would not have done what they did with that run they went on, because Lou Alcindor and all those great guys would have probably transferred.
Why would they have left?
Well, if they had what was available to them then, like they do now, they would be, probably going after new riches at other schools every other year.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Go to the highest bidder.
That's right. So the history of sport could have been radically changed had this been around years ago. But did you guys ever hear the story of how Coach Wooden ended up getting the UCLA job?
Dad, did you hear this? I haven't, Dad.
Well, he was going to go to Wisconsin, and UCLA called him and had approached him, and he didn't get that. I'm not sure it was Wisconsin. And while they were slow getting back to him, he went to UCLA. I don't know exactly what happened, though. No, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually Minnesota. And
Minnesota, sorry.
Yeah, what happened was he was getting ready to go to Minnesota for an interview to, I guess, officially be handed the job or be given the job or whatever proposed to him. And there was a snowstorm, and he was afraid he was going to miss out on another opportunity because of that. And he ended up going to UCLA and not even going to Minnesota because of the weather. And he ended up going to UCLA and got hired by them.
I'll tell you a story along with that, Philip. When Gene Bartow got out there, Coach Wooden kept his camps, and it made Gene mad because that was the big money they could make. So when they called Gene to ask him to recommend somebody for UAB, he said, "How about me?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not making any money with my camp. The coach has got all the camps, and that's how that happened.
Hey, that's interesting. I was going to ask you guys if hopefully Alabama gets on a magical run this weekend and does something really, really special. But I don't know if you guys talked to Kurt McNair any, but I just have been thinking lately that he would be just a really good guest for the show. I don't know if you have any contact with him or know how to get in touch with him, but
I know Kurt.
He'd be interesting to talk to.
Yeah, Kurt's a historian when it comes to Alabama for sure. So, Phil, what's your prediction of the game tomorrow night?
Alabama 107, UConn 102.
Wow, shootout 107-102. Thank you, my man.
Not going against the Tide right now, man.
There you go. Thank you, Philip.
See y'all.
107-102. I guess they left the defense in Tuscaloosa and in Storrs, Connecticut. They in Storrs, Connecticut. 2-minute truck. We'll do what now?
Connecticut can't score that many points.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. Well, I don't know. Alabama's defense might let them. Depends on which defense showed up. 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this move. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, moving is stressful, so let the professionals handle it. They know exactly how to wrap your stuff, load it properly on the truck, unload it, take care of your house as they move that furniture inside and out. So give them a call today for the free estimate, 205-247-5050. That's 2 minute truck movers who care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Very light slowdowns on Highway 69, getting between County Highway 56 and 15th Street. About a 12-minute ride through the I-20-59 interchange, problem-free. I-359 traffic, 2 minutes between Highway 11 and 20 and 59. Traveling Highway 82, under 10 minutes there between Airport Road and Jack Warner Parkway. I'm Josh with Dausch.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. Alabama's potential for a statewide lottery is in limbo right now between two versions. One passed by the House, the other with different wording in the Senate. Greensboro Senator Bobby Singleton believes the only hope for a public vote is for a conference committee to work out the differences. 3 members from each chamber will try to reach
to 511-511. Text muscle to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Text fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays cool and dry today. The sky's sunny, the high 65. Clear tonight, some scattered frost possible early tomorrow morning, the low at 39. Tomorrow's sunny with a high at 69. Sunday, partly sunny, the high at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 65 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. Going to build the 5-star backyard. Only one choice. That's Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com. Find the dealer closest. You're back to the Yellowwood hotline, which phone lines are open 205-342-9904. And bring Cowboy in. Good morning, Cowboy. You up early? You're up early this morning. Usually he calls about 8:50.
Well, I've changed my route so I can call you guys now, if that's okay. I'll go back to the other time.
No, that's great. I just didn't know. I'm not used to hearing you this early.
Well, I got this new house bought, and I got to take a different way to work. It's more trafficy if I leave a little later. So, why not talk to you guys? Hey, Coach, did you check into that Zumo TV to get those Cowboy channels? I was watching the Rifleman this morning, man. That's a good show.
I didn't know how. I've been kind of busy doing other stuff, and I hadn't done it.
Yeah. Well, call your cable company, Charter. I think they're owned by Spectrum.
Yeah, good luck on
that. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. But you'd like it. I mean, I saw on there it had this morning the Rifleman, Lone Ranger, Roy Rogers, all that stuff. You'd like it.
I'm gonna have to call. I'm gonna have to call DirecTV. They've been inching my bill up again. Every time you look down there, that thing goes up. Then you'll call them, they'll take it back down. But of course, it takes forever to get anybody on the phone, and half of them don't speak English when you get them on there. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Hey, you ever get an operator and knows that you can't get what you need? I just hang up, give me another person, or tell them. I can tell by their voice where we're going. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. What do y'all think? Is Musselman like his dad? Just got to move around a lot. His dad was kind of a vagabond. He went everywhere. And I know you knew him, I think, from your Reebok.
Yeah, I did. I played against his dad twice. And he was, they're good basketball coaches. And let me say this to you. When you go to the Final Eight twice, then if you have a bad year, they really jump your butt because you're supposed to be the same way you were the last 2 years. And they ended up getting players that didn't work together, made bad decisions on recruiting, which is the whole background of having a good program. And I think they were down on him, and so he just 88 now. I think to answer your question, he's a guy that doesn't mind moving.
Yeah.
And being in L.A. or that area is he'll like that. He'll have his shirt tail off, and they'll be making his picture. And,
his wife.
Tim Floyd said something very interesting. I talked to Tim last night. There are a lot of players out there. But you got to recruit them and work on them. UCLA took some, but there are a lot of players. If you get your recruiting organized, it's actually an easier place. Although it's not a basketball school, as you want to call it, but it's an easier place to recruit to if you're organized recruiting than Arkansas is because of all the glamour around it.
He was on the private plane with his family and put out a little video, said they were going home. So I guess maybe he's born in that area. Cowboy, they had a lot of locker room issues this year. When you have that on top of losing, it's not fun. So I think he just
especially after one so big, Barry.
Yeah, and I think he'd had enough.
Yeah. I like him. I know a lot of Alabama people. They do not like him, but I think he's a pretty good basketball coach. I kind of like him.
If they don't like the coach, if you don't like the opposing coach, that means he's pretty good.
Yeah. You don't want, when you love that guy, that means
I didn't want none of them like me.
No, that means you're beating them all the time when you love them. If you don't like them, that means they beat you some.
Yeah, well, what do you think Arkansas is doing? There's been rumors of Chris Beard to Arkansas.
There's a rumor there, and here's the reason for that. He went to Little Rock, got a lot of players out of the state of Texas, and had the new arena there, and I didn't have that, and had the new arena, and they won big, and so it impressed. I'm sure the athletic director there would be somebody that I would tie to. Secondly, the Arkansas job is better than the Ole Miss job. It's better financially. It's better interest-wise. It's better all the way around. Chris Beard's name is at the front of the list. And so I would say you're probably right. He will be, if he's not, I think he'll probably get the job, but I don't know.
If he does, it better be a huge buyout. He just signed a new contract at Ole Miss. Now, the people said he hadn't signed it yet, but if you verbally agree, and then there's talk about the guy from Kansas State that was obviously at Baylor for so long.
I don't know that.
No, I don't. I'm sure he's a name though.
Just because of the Little Rock thing, in that new arena, he did well.
Well, there's a precedence for a guy being brought back from the dead, I guess, as the saying goes. Like Ole Miss gave Beard an opportunity, maybe when some people wouldn't touch him, and Western Kentucky did the same thing with Bobby Petrino, and he left them after a year and went back to Louisville from Western Kentucky. So, the precedent's out there. I guess that Ole Miss A.D. Carter's hoping he doesn't go out the gate on him, but kind of sounds like it might happen.
Yeah, one of the national writers, which I can't remember if it was, Seth Davis, it may have been Goodman, but said that they should hire Will Wade. And then he said Will Wade would scare the SHIT out of the people in the SEC. Will Wade ain't scaring nobody. What is he talking about? Nobody's scared of Will Wade.
If we picked Will Wade on that pick,
I agree. That was a silly statement. I read the same statement.
Scared of poo-poo of Will Wade. I mean, Will Wade's done fine, but I'm not scared of Will Wade.
It was the reason. One of the reasons they're looking for somebody that ties to the people that have the money there, and also a tenant. So here's a young man. I've met him, talked to him once. That at Little Rock that had gone in there in that state and done awfully well, and it would come closer probably to tying his time. There's some that are mad that Eric's leaving, and some that are glad. That's the way life is. But we'd kind of tie them together pretty good. But Barry's right. This 4-year contract that he's gotten would be a real black eye, because the athletic director has played basketball, and it'll be a big stink if he does leave.
Yeah, Coach, I heard you when I was driving talking to, Philip, and you started talking about Gene Bartow and the camps at UCLA.
He asked about that. Gene was called to recommend somebody at UAB.
Yeah.
When he did, he said, "How about me?" And the reason for that was that the camps that Coach had, he did not give them up. Coach would, and it made him mad. And that was a big factor in money. Man, money was big back then. Now, this was a big deal back then.
You guys made $150,000 back in the day, and now these guys are making millions.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll ask this one question, and I'll let you go. Did you and Gene Bartow kind of have a makeup there near the end?
I went to see. I'm not the kind of guy that I get mad at you, but I try to whatever.
Yeah.
We had a difference. He wrote a pretty nasty letter on Coach Bryan and I.
Yeah.
About us cheating. I still got the letter. I hope Barry will keep it. And it when he not that everybody got mad about me particularly, but I wasn't going to back off of him. But when they wrote about Coach Bryant, that nailed it right there. But anyway, when he was sick on his bed, I went to see him, and his wife answered the door, and I said, "Look, I need to visit with him." I went in and visited with him for about an hour, and she's
that's awesome
now. So I don't know. I don't think it wasn't a makeup. I was mad at him, and he got football started. And he wanted to hurt Coach Bryant by starting football. He thought that would take the prospects away from Alabama football. And
that's never going to happen.
So it wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, I went to high school with Murray. He's a couple years older than me, but I've heard all the stories.
You know all the stories. Yeah. There's a lot more stories that I not necessarily.
I couldn't stand UAB basketball. Once I moved out here, I went and watched them.
He did a heck of a job there. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
And Stoney was good, and we were pretty good, so it was a good basketball time at that particular time.
Yeah. Well, look, you guys have a good one. Have a good weekend. Maybe the Tide do well tomorrow night, and you and I can watch some cowboy movies in between.
Give us a score, Cowboy. What's your score tomorrow?
oh Lord, 87 to 75, Connecticut.
All right, UConn. So we got 2 for Alabama and 1 for UConn right now. So
I don't mean to be bad. I'm just being.
I mean, come on, you got to be honest. Thank you, boy.
Barry, I'll tell you, I had a chance to listen to some of the people that do some things, broadcast UConn basketball, not phony guys, but really guys that know what they're talking about. UConn has gone through a period of time at the early part of the year that shot the ball well. The last 3 games, Utah's made three threes total. I think it's 3. They have not shot the basketball well at all. They're not going to shoot the ball anywhere close to as good as Alabama. So the game comes down to UConn's ability to defend the 3 and to rebound, of course, all those other things. I think that's huge. If they're not continuing not to shoot it well, have to take it inside, make 2s. The ability of UConn to defend, we're going to get on the show and say Alabama shot it well, Alabama didn't shoot it well, those kinds of things. It all depends on the defense because they're athletic. It all depends on the defense that they have against the 3, I think. The only other factor is in a game like this that's so exciting and so whatever we want to call it, you can turn that basketball over. And I think Alabama has to be careful with that.
All right, let's talk about Bob Prince and Prince, Glover, and Hayes before we get to break.
345-1234, easy number to remember. If you have a problem, an injury, and the injury's on the highway, if somebody runs into you just because they want to or you're disgusted with you, or if you have an injury somewhere else in the neighborhood or kinfolks or whatever, you don't know how to handle it, then Prince, Glover, and Hayes can do that for you. They'll talk with you on the telephone and have you over at 701 Rice Mine Road, visit with you there. And then you'll go to visit with them, and after you do that, then they'll do a good job for representing you. Remember this, you're going to be out of sorts, mentally and physically, and they can put you back together. 345-1234.
PrinceLaw.net is the website. If they don't win, you don't pay. Phone line will still be open, 205-342-9904. We also can listen to a little bit of the Nate Oates press conference from yesterday out in Arizona.
Convenience to your kitchen with smart, innovative appliances from GE Profile. Right now, save up to $2,300 on select kitchen packages with Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
The ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Pressure treated pine from Great Southern, bring you the 7 o'clock hour. They do it for us each and every day. When you're going to build a 5-star backyard, only one choice. That's Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. All right, the phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. Justin, let's play a little bit of Nate Oates' press conference out in Phoenix yesterday. The team will practice today. I think each team has 50 minutes on the actual court that they'll play in its State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. I think the football teams played out there as well in that stadium. But here was Coach Oates yesterday out in Glendale.
Very fortunate that I'm able to coach at a place like Romulus that gives us the resources to be able to make a run like this. I mean, shoot, I've done a lot of reminiscing over the last week as people asked me, 11 years ago I was coaching high school basketball and just getting to know the Hurley brothers pretty well. It's ironic that, my first Final Four that I make, the first one Alabama makes, but I
say it's not you.
Well, what happened there?
Of course, when we play stuff off of YouTube, we're battling the ads.
I got you. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, I've heard it. Anyway, I mean, our audience probably had heard it.
Yeah. So can we not play those? Oh, go ahead.
Coaching against Danny Hurley, who his brother Bobby is the one that got me in this business. If it wasn't for Danny and Bobby, I wouldn't be here. And we're playing each other in Bobby's town down here in Phoenix. So it's kind of funny how it comes full circle. But, it'd be nice if I wasn't having to play against Danny's team because it's a pretty good team. So we've been underdogs kind of through this tournament. Nobody expected us to be here at this point. Last year we had the number 1 overall seed, and that's the nature of the tournament. With a one-game elimination tournament, the best team doesn't always win. That happened last year, and we've been able to make a run now, and we're going to have our team ready to go Saturday night. We know we've got a daunting task in front of us, but our guys will be ready. And, me and Danny talked earlier in the week. We're going to have fun. He's ultra competitive, as I'm sure you all know. And not quite sure what happened with the plane. It wasn't me. I didn't send anybody over there to mess with the mechanics. I'm sure he's conjured that up in his head already. But I did get a good night's sleep last night, so that's nice. But I'm sure he'll be fired up and ready to go Saturday. It'll be fun, and then we'll touch base after the game.
Coach, our first question comes all the way up front on the left side of the room. Jeff?
Yeah, Nate, how many hours of sleep did you get?
I got a solid 7 to 8 hours in a bed, not on a plane.
They got in at 3:13.
That's not fine. I am glad I'm not the ops person for the University of Connecticut basketball team during this trip, that's for sure.
How do you approach this with your team? I mean, obviously nobody's picking you guys to win. You're a heavy underdog. How are you approaching this with your group right now?
Listen, we were an underdog. Nobody expected us to be here. I mean, we weren't playing our best basketball coming into the regular season. Now, part of that was we weren't healthy. We haven't had the last time we had our full team healthy, we beat a really good A&M team 100-75. So, we had to sell our guys that we can make the run, before the tournament. Now that we've made the run to get to the Final Four, I want our guys playing loose and free, but I want them thinking we got a chance to win. I mean, if you guys know me, I'm not going into this game just happy to be here. UConn's great. Danny's done a great job. I mean, there's, as Danny said, they're bulletproof, but other teams have been up on them, gone on runs. The problem is they just go on a huge run, as evidenced by the last game, 30-0, or they make these enormous runs. So we're going to show our guys success other teams have had, and the success that other teams have had, we also do those things very well. We just can't give them these big runs that everybody gives up. Now, it's a lot easier said than done, but over 40 minutes, we're going to be in there. We got a chance. We played some of the best teams in the country. We didn't win in the non-conference against some of the best teams, but we had margins. We were up at least 6 on all 3 of those games. When we played Purdue, Creighton, Arizona, we were up at least 6 with at least a 75% chance of winning each game in the second half. So we've played good teams and been up on them, and we can go back to that. We just got to close out 40 minutes.
All right.
I think the big thing there, Barry, is that Alabama for me, watching the game, Alabama goes on runs.
Yeah.
I mean, their runs, and that's you don't brag on your own runs, but to me, just watching the games, I'm fearing Alabama's runs as much as I am Connecticut's runs.
So when you show some film of Connecticut, obviously they've only lost 3 games. One game they did lose to Creighton, got blown out. 30-0 run. Do you show your team them just dominating people, because you're already a little fragile as it is to you don't want to go in there and get blown out? Do you show them a mixture of people having success against them, Creighton beating them bad, showing them vulnerable, showing them blowing people out, or a little bit of both as you go through your film prep for this game?
I show them a little bit of both. I show them the success that Connecticut has and what they do very, very well. And then I turn around and show them, here's a team that came in Creighton, and another team that beat them and played this way and that way and did what they needed to do. That's exactly what we're going to do tonight. We're going to do the same thing. When we show you the end of this film, we're going to do what we're going to do, just what these other teams did, and we're going to beat them. After I show them, what they did, I think board play in this game, running down loose threes and things like that, is so big, because it gives you more possessions and more shots at the basket. I don't think there's anybody in the 68 teams that shoots a basketball with as many people that can shoot it as Alabama. They've got, we talk about the 2 kids that starred, but kids that's been sick and turn around, kids from North Carolina. I just think Alabama is the best shooting team, and you got to do something about that. If you're, in my opinion, I think you probably think the same thing.
Alabama they don't have any big guys with a lot of weight to defend Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
So I think Coach Pannone and them are going to look at, all right, we're going to have a hard time defending him in the low post. And with Wagyu and Pringle in there, they'll be okay. But if you take those 2 guys out and you got Grant Nelson and Stevenson, and I know Grant Nelson is not a great 3-point shooter, but he takes them. I think if one of those guys is making threes who this kid's guarding, he has a heart, and Grant Nelson can put the ball on the floor. So do you look for Alabama to design some stuff offensively to take Wagyu and Pringle out, put the guys that shoot the threes in, and make this guy defend the 3-point line?
Yeah. And for our listeners, let me explain what Barry's saying. You take a guy that the big guy is guarding, and you take him out of the middle because he shoots the 3 well on the perimeter, and that means he can get the shot off because the big guy can't get out there to defend him as often as he can. So you don't play it all through the post. Alabama doesn't play through the post much anyway. But you don't put Pringle out there, but you put Nelson out there, or however you want to do it. But you try to find somebody, and I think in the second game they'll do the same thing with the big Edie kid. They'll try to get somebody out there for him to guard that can shoot the basketball. I just think Alabama, if this were to happen, and I think Alabama's an underdog in the game, if Connecticut continues to shoot the ball poorly from the 3, and they don't defend Alabama's threes, then Alabama has a chance to win the game. I think that to me is the key. Now, I do think that Alabama has a tendency, and I've been trying to be negative, don't start sending stuff to me. They have a tendency to turn the ball over a lot in games. This is a game where you could do that because of the intensity of the game, and we'll see what happens there.
Also, by having a shooter on the perimeter that Clingan has to be out there to guard, Justin, it opens up the rim for you to drive and get to the rim because he's not back there protecting it because he's out guarding your guy out there. So you take the shot blocker and you pull him out to the perimeter. Now Mark Sears and those guys get downhill. Now, if he runs down there to block the shot, then they throw it out, and you got to hope that Stevenson and Nelson can make shots. And they have both had big games in this tournament, so maybe they'll have another one. Yes,
when trying to draw Clingan out to the 3-point line, is there potential for Alabama to go just incredibly small, and maybe you put a Stevenson out there to shoot the three, or would you avoid doing that?
No, you can definitely do that. You want to make your 3-point shooting has to be an advantage on the offensive end. You want to pull the shot blocker out of there. Now he's going to hurt you some, but you're giving up twos and you're getting threes if you're making them. So
yeah, that's right. Justin, small beats big if small can shoot. If small can shoot, they can
three is more than two. You don't have to make as many threes to get to that number. So if I'm Danny Hurley, I'm looking at it, and there may be a situation where we say, you know what, we got to get him out of there. Well, if he's not on the bench, then he's not as, you got to pull him out because they're making a bunch of threes and he can't come out there, then that gives you a little bit of advantage to pull the 7-2 guy out, who I think is the second best post player in the country. All right,
Barry's right. Nobody ever plays Alabama correctly defensively. They just don't. But you have to every now and then after a timeout show Alabama a different defense because of their abilities to run the floor and do things. You can't. But it's got to be a defense that you've taught. You understand it. They're as good in that as they are in man. But nobody ever does that.
Yeah, and then you'll take his man out there. I'm talking Klingon, have a ball screen. Those guys come off. Now those guys can pop. He's helping off the ball screen. And so they're going to need not only Sears and those guys to hit threes. You're going to need your 4 and 5 men to hit threes in this particular game. It's the Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Light morning congestion starting to build up. Highway 69 north and southbound between County Highway 56 and 15th. About 12 minutes there through the I-20 and 59 interchange. No delays. Same for the I-359. Just looking at 2 minutes.
Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays cool and dry today. The sky sunny, the high 65. Clear tonight, some scattered frost possible early tomorrow morning, the low at 39. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 69. Sunday, partly sunny, the high at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 65 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, go back and look at Alabama's game a bit against Purdue. Purdue would have had the same problem with Zach Edey trying to come out and guard. So they played Wagee. He started back then. So it was a little bit different team. He played 20 minutes. He ended up having 11 points. Grant Nelson did make 2 threes in that particular game, had 11 points. Stevenson was really no factor, 17 minutes. Nick Pringle only played 9 minutes in that game. And then they had a hard time, as everybody does, guarding Zach Edey. He got 35 against him. So we'll see if they can guard Klingon down there. He's probably not quite as...
Had a game or two where he didn't shoot it well at all. In fact, he shot an air ball a couple of times.
Who's that?
Stevens.
Yeah. He shot air balls the other day, but he made them, and if he didn't make it, he made air ball, but he hit 5 threes.
I'm saying it's not. They've got to be. He may not shoot it as well. Is what I'm trying to say, son.
Yeah. Against Purdue, do you know how many threes Alabama made, Justin? They took 46 threes and made 19. So not bad, 41%. If they make 19 tomorrow, they got a good chance.
They win.
And they made 19 against Purdue. So you go and look at that. So they had the big guy, so they fired it from 3. So look for Alabama to take 43s tomorrow.
What happened in that game, Barry? How many did Purdue make?
Purdue.
How did Edey score in that game?
He was 12 of 20. He went 11 of 11 from the foul line, so they fouled him, and he made all his free throws. Did make 12 field goals, 35 points, and then. The other problem is when you double down, he kicks out, and they had their guard for Purdue made 4 threes, and he had 27 points. So, but the score was 92-86. But Alabama made 19 threes in that particular game.
That may be the most they've made this year.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you're going to see, I would think, against Connecticut. All right, we'll take this break. Open up the phone lines, 205-342-9904. What will it take for Alabama to pull off the upset against the UConn? The line, I'm still a little bit surprised, has not moved at all. Maybe it'll move tomorrow. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Just head to your local Boost Mobile store for 4 lines and 4 phones for $100. New customers only. Requires ID verification. Select markets only. Other restrictions apply. See participating dealers for details.
It's the Tide 100.9 30K Workday Payday. Woo! Win cash every weekday 8 to 5. Here's this hour's cash code.
598. Again, that's 598. The code is 598.
Enter that code now on the Tide 100.9 app. Click on the 30K Payday button and enter the code for a chance to win $30,000.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In the NBA, the Clippers rally down 17 points in the first quarter and without their star Kawhi Leonard to knock off the defending NBA champion Nuggets 102-100. Denver star Nikola Jokic did have 36 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists, but also missed a 3-point attempt at the buzzer that would have won it. And Denver falls a half game back of idle Minnesota for the top record in the Western Conference with that loss. 76ers beat the Heat 109-105. Philadelphia's now 2-0 since the return of star Joel Embiid from injury. He had 29 points. Warriors over the Rockets 133-110. Knicks knock off the Kings 120-109. New York was down 21. They come back to win. Mavericks over the Hawks 109-95. In baseball, the Tigers and Mets split a doubleheader. Detroit took the first game 6-3. They lost the second game 2-1. That was New York's first win and Detroit's first loss. The Marlins are looking for their first win. They're now 0-8 after an 8-5 loss to the Cardinals.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. As we start this 8 o'clock hour, we want to thank Andrew Conifer. He's my Allstate insurance agent. Let Andrew become yours. He's out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. You're looking for home, life, auto. You want to have an insurance agent that knows the area inside and out, and Andrew's been here since 2002, so he can help you tremendously there. 205-722 9201 Andrew Conifer, Allstate Insurance. All right, we've heard some of coaches. You can go to the YouTube and you can listen to the entire press conference. I do want to hear from the opposing coach, Coach Hurley. We'll have Sonny on at 8:15, and obviously Coach Oates owes the Hurley family a lot. His brother got him in college coaching at Buffalo, so he's close with this family. They actually taught prior to the game. Just talk about that, playing, you and Sonny were friends, playing one of your friends. How difficult is that?
It's not a lot of fun. Naturally, you're ready, trying to win the game, and you try to get your players on their players rather than the coach on the coach. You talk about how well the opposing team is coached and what you have to do, but I think basically when the game is over, for me, I shake hands and keep going. I say, y'all played well, shake hands, keep going. I don't spend a lot of time. I know, sometimes one time we got beat down at Auburn, and some of just people were there. But, well, I won't tell that. But anyway, I just kind of did what I thought was right. I was disgusted and disappointed at the time that we lost, and I just shook hands and kept going.
I want to ask you about Coach Oates and technicals. He gets a lot. He gets a lot of technicals. And I don't know, Justin, maybe you can find the stat, their win and loss record when he gets one. He got one, I believe, in the Grand Canyon game. I can't remember how many he's gotten in the NCAA tournament. Dad, and I worked for a guy that I thought needed to get one every once in a while, and he never would ever even question the call that the official. But these guys are human. So when you go crazy over there on the sideline, sometimes they hold it against you. Sometimes they say, man, if he's acting like that, I must have really missed one. I better try the next one that's close, I'm going to give to Alabama in this particular case. Do these technicals help or hurt the whistle for Alabama and coaches? I think sometimes guys can turn it against you. Sometimes maybe it will help you a little bit because they think maybe they've missed something there.
I think you have to know the personality of the officials. In this particular case, you may not. You have a couple of officials. He called one the other night in a game I thought was absolutely ridiculous in the game. But you have guys who don't breathe on me. If you do, I'm called technical. You have to know the officials. And you have to know their personality a little bit. You don't know everything. I understand that. But a little bit, where things are and with the officials. So I always tried to say something that was corny or humorous or something when they came over. I tried to. And I think that's the key. Who's officiating? I think a couple of 3 games, Barry, have been hard to officiate. I thought Texas A&M and A&M was a hard game to officiate. I thought Alabama played a game that was hard to officiate. I can't remember which one it was, but maybe.
That Grand Canyon game was not officiated very well, when you have Zach Edey, there's a lot of plays in there. It's hard to officiate a big guy like that, because you can't penalize him for being big, but you also can't let him camp out in the lane, and you have to. But so I think Tennessee was physical, and they felt like he fouled more than he got. But
also, and I don't want to say this wrong, but you also know that there's going to be, some Caucasians call games and others call games. It's kind of a mixture of that. And there are some. One of them that made a bad call against Scott. I thought cost us a game. That stays. He never calls a game ever that he doesn't use the headphones. Ever. He wants to be sure that he's seen up there with the headphones on. And I don't know. You have to be careful with the officials. You can't get them down on you, like you said. But you can't sit there. I thought it helped to fuss at them. Okay? I thought it helped for me to jump their butts. I jumped a lot of them in a nice way. They said I got a lot of technicals. I hardly ever got one. I almost got a foul, but I very seldom ever got a technical foul. They say, we're just going to get a bunch of technicals. I never did. I just never got them.
Yeah. Coach Oates gets them. He can't stop, and he's going to go until he gets one. I think sometimes he wants to get them, and sometimes
they were crazy about the box when they first got that stupid box. Even what's his name is, I can't call the names anymore. One of the officials, a buddy of mine, said we got in the dressing room and said, I want to tell you something. If Wimp gets out of that box tonight, we're going to nail him, and they did.
Yeah.
They got me getting out of the box.
Well, they got Kevin Keats at a critical time against Duke. They looked up, and he was down at midcourt, and everybody went crazy. Thought it was a terrible technical on Kevin Keats when NC State was playing Duke to advance to the Final Four. It didn't end up turning the game it could have. I agree with people, but when you go all the way to half court, like you can't be upset if you get one. If you're way down there like that, then you're giving those guys an easy chance to call it, and they did. So all right, let's hear a little bit of Coach Hurley, and then we'll get to Justin. Then we'll get to Sonny Smith. All right, here's Danny Hurley out in Glendale, Arizona.
Just wanted to thank the folks, the welcoming committee, the great people of Phoenix that met us when we got in. That was to stay out there for us, really made it really special. And my brother was right. You got incredible people out here in this Phoenix area. I know he loves it out here. And then thank Dan Gavitt for being out there. He's always been great to me. And so we appreciated that welcome yesterday.
First question is going to be on the left side. Dana?
Dana O'Neill with The Athletic. Dan, how was your flight?
It was not, you know what? It was nice. You know what? It's like, had a lot of thoughts, because I've had a lot of time to think, just in a stationary situation. But, it's like, I think what goes through your mind once you're done, kind of complaining and cursing and muttering and trying to, you just start saying to yourself, like you don't really deserve to show entitlement. Such an honor to get a chance to, and a once in a lifetime experience to go play in a Final Four, coach in a Final Four, that, it's just, once kind of that edge wore off, you start, lucky to be here. We're lucky to get an opportunity to come play in the Final Four. And then who doesn't deal with problems with the airlines? I mean, people deal with it during the holidays, and it's just, it's something that you just got to get through, but it sucked.
Up front and center.
Dan Dalmavori from The Current. I know you alluded to it, I think, during the week somewhere, but can you give us your take on what you've seen from the women's team, if you've been able to watch them the other night, and what they've been able to do with what they've been up against?
Yeah, just to see it in the building, because you walk by the training room and they got like a top 5 team in the country that's hurt. They're not playing. So, it's why Gino's, one of the best coaches of his generation, and obviously Paige and their crew, it's special. And, to do it with everything that they've dealt with the last 2 years, it's just, it's incredible. I mean, it just speaks to the level of Gino and his staff and UConn women's basketball, and why they've been the premier program, in the country.
Coach, we'll go to the center of the room. Jeff?
Dan, you look terrific for somebody that didn't get any sleep. Terrific.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 on the plane, and then I got another 2 at the hotel.
Well, you look good.
Caffeine, that's why God made caffeine.
Everybody's talking about your team, and this one's a layup, right? You're going to beat Alabama, no problem. You've said you kind of make up some stuff to motivate your team. What have you made up so far to motivate your group so far?
Yeah, I don't think at this point, with what Alabama's shown in terms of what they're capable of, to beat a number 1 seed in North Carolina, and just with how good their offense is. I mean, it's, it'll be the best offense that we've guarded, this year. As good as Illinois was, this is better. Just because I think they're deeper, just more athletics, just more guards that can break you down. And then look at we've lost 3 games. I mean, we got crushed, at Creighton, and, at Seton Hall, we got our butt kicked too. So if we're not on our identity, like we're vulnerable like everybody else. But, again, if we play elite offense, elite defense, and beat you on the backboard, we're tough to beat.
All right, there's any comments about what he had to say there?
Oh, he told the truth.
Yeah.
I think they have been unelite at times. And I think I have said for whatever reason, and I don't know why I say it, that this building will be hard to shoot in. I think that I don't know who's going to win the game, but I think that Connecticut has been shooting the ball very poorly. Now, they're good defensively, and yes, Alabama will try taking somebody. You got to be careful, though, Barry, when you start being trickery and take somebody that the big guy's going to guard and move him to the corner. You take somebody like that off the boards a little bit, and you take him off the board too. But I don't think you can be too trickery in this game. Getting the 5-man out of there is a good idea. I think Nelson is a fairly good three-point shooter. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as those other four kids. I think this kid, the kid from Texas, the three guy, we don't have to talk about much. Alabama. I think he is a guy that we never talk about, and he makes more cotton-picking big shots than anybody on the team. They're talking about Mark Sears and Estrada and all these people, and I think that kid has made big shots for Alabama.
Yep. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get Coach Sonny Smith, get his breakdown on the Final Four. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM, TBC. WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
New accident this morning traveling on Highway 78 at milepost 169 in Jasper, not causing heavy delays. Traveling along Highway 82, it's about 10 minutes there. Between Airport Road and Jack.
It's the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays cool and dry today. The sky's sunny, the high 65. Clear tonight, some scattered frost possible early tomorrow morning, the low at 39. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 69. Sunday partly sunny, the high at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 43 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion, Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We talked about Alabama making the threes for the season. Mark Sears has made 92, shooting 43% from three. Strada made 47 threes. He's only shooting 30%. Grant Nelson, 29 for 106, 27%. Rylan Griffin, who Dad's talking about, 72 threes out of 184, shooting right at 40%. Latrell Wrightsell will be back. He's missed 5 games this year. He's 66 for 149, shooting 44% from three. Sam Walters, 33 for 99. That's very good. 39% from three. Jaron Stevenson, 32 for 101, shooting 31%. So these guys got a lot of guys that can shoot it. If you're shooting in the mid-30s, then that's a great percentage from three-point line, especially at this level. I get to the Yellowwood Hotline to bring in our great friend, Coach Sonny Smith. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging on, bud. Hanging on.
Good. Go ahead, Dad.
Big game, Connecticut and Alabama, and coaches are friends. They've been asked about you and I. I generally said when you beat me, I just kind of shook hands and congratulated you, and went on my way. And I think basically you did the same thing with me. I didn't really want to talk to you, and you didn't want to talk to me if whoever won. But
did Did they say they did that?
No, I think they're friends. They're friends like we are off the court.
Yeah.
But our friendship is pretty genuine, and theirs is too. I mean, ours is not phony friendship. It's just we work radio together and all that kind of stuff. This Connecticut team has not shot the ball well. And I think the game depends on Alabama's ability not to turn it over, which could happen, and for to see how well Connecticut defends Alabama's shooting, because Alabama shoots it a lot better than Connecticut, but it's not as good a team as Connecticut. Do you know anything about the game at all?
Yes. Yeah, I think I don't think that Connecticut will slow the game down. I think they'll try to play exactly the way they've played all year. But you would think going into a game, knowing the speed and with the quickness that Alabama plays with, that they would try to make some changes there. I think if they play their game and Alabama plays their game, I think Alabama will win. I really do. Alabama doesn't, to me, you guys tell me, because you see this more, Alabama's defense is better than we all look at it as because of the speed of the game. They play so fast and shoot so quick. Their defense is a heck of a lot better than you would think, and the depth on defense is really good. Am I wrong or right there?
I think it's okay. I think it's better in some games because some teams didn't do a lot. I think maybe they've emphasized on it so much that it's got some better. It's not the greatest defense in the NCAA history, but it's better. Barry may want to comment on it more than I do.
Well, I think Connecticut, they've got one kid, Cam Spencer. He's made more threes than Mark Sears this year. He's made 95 threes and shooting, and he's taken 216. So they'll take the three ball as well. They do have the 7'2" kid inside, Klingen, that we've talked a lot about. Coach, really good. Gets low position in the middle of the lane. He can score down there. So we're thinking, Alabama may put all 3-point shooters out there to pull him out and make him have to get out there and guard the three. Just your thoughts possibly about how you guard him and then what you do to him on the other end if he has to go out and guard a 3-point shooter.
Well, I think with Alabama's height of 6'8", 6'9" in that category, I don't think they'll double him and leave other people open that much. They may fake the double, dive down in there and get back out, that type of thing. But I don't see them face guarding, playing behind type thing and doing it continuously. And some people have tried that and probably has worked. I don't know if it has or not, but I don't see them just doubling the post and leaving somebody wide open. I think they'll dive in, get back out, dive in, get back out, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's defense is really good. When you shoot as quick and as fast as they do, it may not look like it's the best defense, but I think it is really outstanding myself.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it is. In the second game, you take a team like North Carolina State, they are loose as a cotton-picking goose. I mean, they are having the best time in the world, and they can shoot. And they ain't gonna say a word about bad shots, good shots, ducking. They ain't gonna do anything. And Burns, the big kid inside,
he's something.
He'll come up to Edie's jockey strap. That'd be about as tall as he'll be. He'll be right at his jockey strap. This guy's 300 pounds and 7'5". He didn't come in on a turnip truck, and it's going to be interesting to see, if they can take. I don't know. He can fight Edie. He can't fight him. I don't know what he's got to do, but he's good. Burns.
I think he has to have help, don't you?
Yeah. Burns is a good passer.
Yes, he is.
People, but they'll shoot it quick, and you'll say, why in the name of Pete did they shoot that shot and it goes in? I mean, they've won 9 straight, Sonny. 9 straight.
Yeah. They play loose and they play free, and I tell you what, he may not be the best defender, but he uses his weight to push people around a lot. Burns does, and he pushes them in the post, and he pushes them a little bit out of position. And that certainly makes the defense that he's playing a little bit better. but you wouldn't put him on the record as being a great defender. But you put him on the record that plays hard, I'll tell you that. He does play hard for a big, heavy guy.
We're going through a transfer deal. You're losing your guard plus the other kid from Georgia, little Trey guy, whatever his name is, and the guard.
Donaldson.
And both those guys have decided to depart. Why would that be? I know one of them because he's not starting, but what's happened there?
I never saw any lack of concern from a standpoint of bad attitude. I never seen a lack of effort on either part. The only thing that I could think of is they want to be more of a star instead of a not a backup, but just a player on this team. I think they may think that they can go a place and be the number one player. And that's the only thing that I can think of, because there is no problem on the with the staff and with the team and with other players. They get along well and they coach them up well. So I'm thinking it's looking for star quality more than anything else with those guys leaving.
Is that guard a good shooter? Is he a consistent shooter, the one they're losing?
Well, what he does is he shoots on the move and he shoots standing. If he shoots standing, he's accurate. But he will shoot as much off the dribble as he does in a catch and shoot. It may be because of ball movement more than anything on that, but he is not a great deep shooter off the dribble. I mean, a catch and shoot, which is it doesn't happen as much as it does because he has the ball a lot. But he can make the 3-point shot, and he also can make a shot from distance off the dribble real well. And he plays extremely hard. So he's going to be well sought after. I can tell you that right now.
Just talk about Eric Musselman. Went to 2 Final Eights this year. They had some locker room issues. Didn't they end up being a game under 500? I think there was a lot of people that wanted him to stay. They really liked him at Arkansas, but then some that once he went to interview for Southern Cal said, hey, go. This is a better job. I think he's going back home. He's kind of a mover. Just your thoughts on what Coach Musselman did there.
I always thought he was doing a good job. I always thought that they didn't like him, and I couldn't understand why. I thought, are they expecting a national championship? What is the thinking there? Because I thought he was doing a good job, and his teams will guard you, and he can up-tempo it, and he can press you a little bit. And I thought he did a heck of a job of coaching the team, and I thought they probably liked him there, but evidently it must have been just the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And he's taken a job that's probably overall not as good as the one he had.
Yeah.
Because I coached out there. Even in L.A., fellas, they didn't look at Southern Cal as being a team that you really watch out. They're thinking UCLA. They're thinking everybody else.
Bob Boyd was there, wasn't it? Bob Boyd.
Bob Boyd was a great coach, I thought. And see, he moved out there and went to Mississippi State, if you remember.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and I probably shouldn't say it, but I will. I guess I had a pretty good guess that Nick Saban was leaving the year that he left. Your Indiana coach made it this year by the skin of his teeth. If your Indiana coach loses his job, Bruce Pearl's gone.
To go to Indiana.
Next year.
And he coached in Indiana in his lifetime. That may be where the rumors are coming from. I
think they're true rumors after next year.
You do? I couldn't see him moving because he has things so well. He's got an arena that you can be a down team, not winning every night out, and still people are going to come because you can fill it up with 9,000. I think he's got a heck of a job, and I think he'd have to have a heck of an offer to leave. But he knows Indiana. He's been there. And the basketball players probably are a little bit more, you can find more in a shorter period of time up in that area. But I still think that could be a good move, but I don't think he'll do it.
Okay. I may be dead wrong.
Go on. It's always going to be on people's mind.
Lose his job.
Yeah, I don't think that Bruce Pearl could lose his job here. He is so.
Well, I know that. I mean, the guy at Indiana losing his job. I hate to see him lose his job.
Yeah. Well, you can lose your job a lot quicker these days for some reason, and I think it's just something of the times the way they are right now more than anything.
Talking about that, Chris Beard is at Ole Miss is a rumor. He was at where we were in Little Rock when they had the new arena, and he did great. Chris Beard is at Ole Miss. Barry says that he's verbally, it is true. Barry, correct. He is either signed or committed to 4 years at Ole Miss, but the rumor is Arkansas wants him. Arkansas is a better job than Ole Miss. What do you think?
I think Arkansas is a better job. I don't know if they could get him out with the money, how much money it would take to get him out there, but I would bet that Arkansas would pay it. They're ready to go with as far as money is concerned. People like to say that
kind of struggle with football. They need to get somebody that makes everybody happy a little bit. So they got to make the right choice. There's no doubt about it. Barry.
And does Eric Musselman make you happy? Make other people happy? You think?
He wears on you after a while. I think he wears on you.
I was just wondering why he would go to Southern Cal, which is, it may be a great job, but it didn't appear to me to be a great job. But I was there. It was an afterthought when I was out there, but that's a long, long time ago.
I think Alabama took a player this year from your old school.
Really?
For next year, I think. Didn't they, Barry?
Pepperdine guy, huh?
I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
They did take a transfer from Pepperdine.
Yeah, Pepperdine is a much better job now than it was when we were there, because we were downtown and we were playing. We were playing in two different arenas, and now since they moved out to Malibu, Pepperdine is a heck of a job. I can't see a guy just wanting to leave Pepperdine because it's such a great place to be and great campus, and you're around tons of players in L.A. I don't know who gets them the most anymore, but they certainly are there. I'll tell you that.
Hey Barry, I went out there one time, and I take a lot of pride in trying to get where I'm not supposed to be able to get. And I heard about Johnny Carson. I heard about Johnny Carson's house, and I wanted to see it. Mm-hmm. So I went to the gate 3 times. I never got in. I could not get a badge to get in to see Johnny Carson's house.
Well, you didn't have your
Johnny Carson must have been a communist.
You didn't have your badge.
Would have got in if he'd been American.
I didn't have no badge. They turned me around. I went back, and I thought, well, I'll come back with a new guy there. I went back. I never got in to see Johnny.
You didn't have your police badge?
I've got one now.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Alabama beats UConn if they can do what?
Take care of the basketball so that they can play up tempo, so that they can shoot the threes. I think the main thing is, can they take care of the basketball, and can they defend the inside game as good as they will defend Alabama's inside game?
How many threes do they need to make?
Oh, Lord, I don't know that, but I tell you what, there better be a lot of attempts.
I think they shot over 40-something against Purdue with their big guy. I think they're going to pull the big guy out.
Yeah.
Against Purdue, Alabama made 19 threes, but still lost. I think they got to make 15 or more to have a chance against this UConn team. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, if all three of us were coaching, wouldn't we build our team around the three-point shot?
Yeah.
When you think,
yeah.
And athletes. Three-point shot and athletes is what I think you build teams around today, and they got them, I think. So I don't know. Let me ask the question. I know you all are supposed to ask the question. How good is Sears that plays for Alabama?
Terrific.
I think so too, and it's like you don't hear about him. You don't see people talking a great length about him, and I think, boy, I said, this guy is terrific. Is there anything he cannot do? I don't see it.
Coach Oates got on his defense for a while, but I think he's picked it up a little bit there. But no, he for a little guy, he drives the ball. He's strong. He finishes at the rim. He makes big shots. He doesn't have to shoot a ton of shots to score a ton of points. So he's not a high volume shooter, and he's willing to drive to the rim and throw it out for threes, which he did to the post guy in the corner last game. So he's unselfish. He'll go down. I think they're going to have to dig up some NIL money to keep him. He's worth doing it, though, isn't he, Coach?
In my opinion, he really is. He's a great combination of a second guard, point guard.
Yeah.
You can't say which he is because he's just as good at either to me.
Yeah.
And I'm really high on him.
Yeah, he's some player. Well, Coach, we appreciate it. We enjoy talking to you each and every week, and we'll break it down with you next week.
I enjoy talking to you guys, and I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Danny.
All right, let's tell them about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Well, Bryant Bank is not an advertisement for me. It's what I do. I go to Bryant Bank when I need something or I need to do something, and Bryant Bank is really a traditional banking experience, just the everyday bank. And we talk about the 4 offices that they have, the banks that they have in Tuscaloosa, but they're all over the state of Alabama, a lot of places. And I think that you'll find a banker that's interested in you, knows you by your first name, and can help you any way possible. And also the ladies and guys that are there can also help you. Bryant Bank customers enjoy online banking, which is around the clock, which is darn important because so many things come up at night and you can't get inside a bank in that way. That they've helped the people in Tuscaloosa, the schools. They're interested in being your local bank and the one that helps you the most and knowing you. I think that's important as it can be. The small businesses I talk about all the time that have been targeted by fraud attempts. Your bank is a bank that is going to be darn sure that your money is safe, that you know what you're doing, and certainly warns you of any problems that might come up because they know you by your first name. So hopefully you'll go by there and tell them you heard it inside the locker room. If you're looking to buy a home, Archie Weaver at Bryant Bank is a guy that can provide some security and expectation and confidence as far as borrowing money to buy that home. I would recommend that Bryant Bank is at least be looked at. Tell me you heard it on our show. I'm there trying to do stuff, and so Bryant Bank is outstanding.
All right, we'll take the break. Open the phone lines for the rest of the show, 205-342-9.
They even do pest control and lawn care. Full service Alabama Professional Services at alabamaprofessional.com.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide football.
Alabama touchdown.
Only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Right now this month at Tuscaloosa Toyota, buy 3 tires, get that 4th tire for $1. That's a great deal going on out at Tuscaloosa Toyota. They've revamped the website. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com, and you can click on the new vehicles, the used vehicles. You can schedule a service. If you want to rent a Toyota for the weekend or whatever you need there, you can do that right there on the website. You need to order some parts or anything for your Toyota. Then you can do it there. Or swing by Skyland Boulevard. We talk to Justin each and every Wednesday. They sold 380 cars last month. So they priced their cars to sell. Cars, trucks, SUVs, whatever you need. Get out there. The 2024s are in. Nobody better in this community than Tuscaloosa Toyota. All right, Dad, tell the listeners, what is Alabama? We've talked all about it. We've talked strategy. We've talked 3-point shooting. We've talked about their big guy. I think Connecticut can shoot the 3 ball as well. But what does Alabama have to do in order to be successful on Saturday night?
I think they need to limit their turnovers, and I think they need to rebound on both ends. I think those are two keys that we don't ever talk about. Yeah, they got to shoot it. Yeah, they got to defend the guy inside. But I think that they limit their turnovers and don't give any easy baskets and make some easy baskets themselves, that they've got a shot in the game. I think it's a hard game to play. People look at it because of the 30-point deal they beat on Illinois, but that was more Illinois screwing up than it was Connecticut making them screw up, to me, missing shots and all. So I would say those two factors there. Alabama's got to shoot it well, and for Connecticut to win, they got to defend the three. They're going to shoot, Barry. I would guess when we get with the stats, they'll shoot twice as many threes as Connecticut. That's about it.
All right, so you think they'll take 40-something threes then?
I think they'll take the high 30s.
Yeah. What about the first game, actually? NC State, Purdue, you give NC State any chance, or does the run end in Glendale, Arizona for the Wolfpack?
I think a run ends, but I think North Carolina State goes down fighting. They are a loose group that has already done all they can do. They already got everybody excited about what they've done. Coach has saved his job. They'll find some players on the transfer portal because of the way they play. They up and down shoot it when you want to. Big guy Burns doesn't look like a player at all. Not in his class, but so I don't know what they can do much inside or not. But I would say North Carolina State ends their deal this Saturday.
All right, and then on Monday night you got Purdue and UConn. Any prediction on that if that were to happen? What will the line be in that game, Purdue UConn? UConn would probably be 5, 6, something like that. They'll put a half in there just to make sure they'll throw the hook in there. So it'll probably be UConn minus 5.5. Don't you think, Justin? Right around in that area there.
I like that number. Yeah.
Where would you go on that? Who knows? And then next week, it'll be exciting. Obviously, we've got the national championship on Monday. Then we'll talk to Doug on Monday. But the Masters, we'll get started. Those guys will start getting in there. Justin Thomas got his new caddy. You got the LIV guys that will be playing in the Masters. So I think I think people are hungry for golf with the LIV guys and the PGA Tour guys. I think it's probably the most watched Masters maybe ever, because you just don't get to see it much in golf anymore. So exciting week next week, right? That over in Augusta.
Yeah, that'll be exciting as crap. But we ought to have Doug on every day.
I'm sure he'd do it.
He probably would.
Yeah. So
we'll get his girlfriend and tell him to.
Yeah. So we get the final game, and then we get the Masters next week. So summer's getting close as you get all that going on, and so college baseball is rolling. I think Alabama's on the road, right, Justin? I'm trying to remember where Alabama is this weekend.
Kentucky.
Yeah, that's right. Kentucky, who's leading the SEC right now. So it'll be a tough series. Alabama currently 4-5 in the SEC, which you got LSU 2-7, Auburn 1-8. So this league is unforgiving. So hopefully they can go up there and maybe get 2 games in Kentucky. I would take this last break and come back. We'll wrap up the show. We'll make way for the Gary Harris Show. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Traveling Highway 69, 11 to 12 minutes both ways between 15th Street and County Highway 56. You do have an accident in South Tuscaloosa on Highway 69 southbound at Bobby Miller Parkway. No issues on Highway 82. It's about 10 minutes between Jack Warner and Airport Road. Also looking good through the I-20 and 59 interchange. I'm Joshua Delsh.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey everybody, it's Gary Harris. Friday morning at 9 a.m. It's the TGIF edition of the Gary Harris Show. All that great weekend music plus 1 day away from the Final Four. Alabama and UConn. We're going to take you back out to Phoenix for some special interviews. Plus, of course, it's our Krispy Kreme Donuts for a Year giveaway. All that and more. We're going to be
Clean Eats is now open downtown with a full-service lunch and dinner cafe, coffee and smoothie bar, healthy meal prep, and grab-and-goes. Clean Eats on University across from the Federal Courthouse. CleanEATZ.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays cool and dry today. The sky's sunny, the high 65. Clear tonight, some scattered frost possible early tomorrow morning, the low at 39. Tomorrow's sunny with a high at 69. Sunday, partly sunny, the high at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 47 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Appreciate the phone calls. Coach Sonny Smith joining us. Tomorrow is the big game. If they were to win tomorrow, obviously they play Monday. The only guy that has exhausted his eligibility is Aaron Estrada. The rest of the guys could possibly come back if they want. Now, there may be one or two that maybe Alabama moves on. You got guys like Grant Nelson and Sears and I don't know, Stevenson maybe. These guys got to make decisions on what their future holds. Dad, does this run that they've made, does that help Alabama bring these guys back? Or do they say, well, I've pretty much done everything I can do there, I'm going to move on and go? How many of these guys do they lose?
They look at the offers they're going to get from other schools. That's the first thing they do. They don't jump quickly at Alabama. They find out who's going to offer what. And if somebody thinks they're so great that they offer some kind of humongous deal that you know that the agent that's representing these people is honest and you can, get your money for sure, then Alabama's got a problem.
Well, do they have to go into the portal, though, to find that out?
Barry, I guess so, unless you want to try to sneak around behind the scenes. I don't know.
I guess these guys have representatives, so if my representative calls you, Justin, on my behalf and just says, hey, he's thinking about going in the portal, this is his number, is that illegal? He said, this is his number. If you meet the number, he'll get in the portal. If not, he's not going to get in.
Well, you call.
He did this. How much could you give me? I think that's probably illegal.
You call his mother, or you call Sears' mother and say, is your son going back to Alabama?
No, that's definitely illegal.
Well,
that's definitely illegal.
He's going to put his hand in the cookie jar.
Oh, you're talking about the agent calls the mother.
Yeah, the agent, and he said, well, when he puts his hand in that cookie jar, you'll be amazed what he's going to pull out if he comes to us.
Yeah, the agent calls the mother and says, if he goes in the portal,
ooh, the cookie jar,
we could do this for him. And then they just say, this is the number. Like, if you can get, and they said that happened at Kansas. Kid won $1 million. They said, we'll give you $750. And he said, no. God. If that's true, wow, what a bad deal we've got.
That cookie jar could be full of something besides cookies.
Yeah. So these guys, it's a system. It's a bad system. But you can't blame the kid for utilizing the system that's there for him now. So all right, that's it for today's show. We'll get out of here. We'll make way for the Gary Harris Show. I know Gary will have plenty of Final Four talk. Exciting time. Where's everybody watching the game? Will many people go to Coleman Coliseum to watch the game? They will? Okay. Really? All right, concession stand will be open. You can't bring your flask in there, so just know that. All right, the Gary Harris Show is next. So keep it locked. You go to Coliseum buy a $12 hot dog? Really? You're the Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama Sports. Have a great day, everybody.